Hey everyone, thanks for checking in. I hope you're having a great day. Bit of a different video than usual today. For those of you who haven't seen me before, my name is Tim and I specialize in long-form video tutorials, almost exclusively on fingerstyle songs. You can check out the full lesson archive at timvanrooy.com. Over the past few years, I have made lessons on almost 100 fingerstyle songs. Some of them extremely hard, some of them slightly less hard. I've been told by several of my viewers never to use the word easy anymore when it comes to describing the lessons. So there you go. And I learned a lot in those few years. In quite a few fields, that was to be expected. I had never shot nor edited a video before, so I was starting from scratch. But what I didn't expect is that my opinion on what constitutes the perfect fingerstyle guitar would shift so dramatically. Just for context, when I started the lessons on this channel in early 2020, I had been a professional freelance player for over 15 years. And back when written media was still a viable career path, I was also a regular contributor to Meet Music magazine. This was a monthly magazine that did nothing else than gear reviews, and I wrote hundreds of those covering amps, effects, electric guitars, and of course acoustic guitars. Because of all of this experience, I thought I had a pretty well-informed idea about what an acoustic should be like, specifically an acoustic guitar suited for fingerstyle. And I'll be honest, my idea was hardly original. It was always a solid spruce top coupled with rosewood back and sides. On paper, that combination would allow for a warm and deep tone with a clear top end. And so, if you look through my older videos, you'll see that I'm playing different brands, but always the same combination. Here is one of my old Martins. I also played a Taylor guitar for a while. And I even went all the way up to the high-end brands and got me a Santa Cruz. All of these guitars have the exact same combination: spruce top, rosewood back and sides, mahogany neck. And don't get me wrong, these guitars sounded great, but I wouldn't be making this video if I hadn't changed my mind about something. When the COVID lockdowns took place, I couldn't get my guitars to my Luthier anymore, and my guitars were in dire need of a setup. The only guitar I had lying around that was still playable was my Mason MS7. I got this guitar after doing a small demo tour for Mason, but I had hardly used it up to this point because it didn't have rosewood back and sides. This guitar has a spruce top, but maple back and sides. And it sounds a lot brighter than my other instruments. But I had worn out the frets on my other guitars, so this would have to do for now. And then, from the very first tutorial I did with this guitar, the questions and comments started coming in. People asking about the brand or the construction, the tone woods, even the microphone setup. It was clear that this guitar stood out more than any other guitar I owned. And over the last 4 years, almost every single gear question on the channel was about this instrument. And I was quite surprised because, in comparison to my other guitars, this one isn't that expensive. As a matter of fact, it goes for less than half, sometimes even less than a third of what my other guitars sold for at the time. But I also noticed a shift in my own preferences. Whenever I had to do a lesson on a song that was a bit faster, I started preferring this guitar over anything else. It just felt easier to play faster songs on this guitar compared to my Martin. It was something with the bright sound and the immediate response that drew me to this guitar. So I was asking myself quite a lot of questions, and I needed a second opinion. The opinion of someone who knows more about guitars than I will ever do, even down to the smallest details. So it's time you guys all met Peter. Peter is an excellent luthier and he runs his business PDS Guitars out of a small town in the Dutch province called Zeeland, the literal translation being sea land. Peter has been repairing and setting up my instruments for years, and he's one of those guys, even if you have 25 plus years of background in guitars like I do, you feel like an instant amateur the second you start talking to him because of his deep knowledge of how the instrument is being built. Recently, the Mason itself was overdue for a serious setup, and I told Peter about my experience with the guitar. We had a long talk about what would be the perfect fingerstyle guitar, during which I made one rather casual remark. I told him that I did realize that this isn't the best sounding instrument in the world. It's not, it's definitely not. But it just seems to work so much better for what I do than my other guitars. To which Peter replied, why don't we build a better sounding one then? Why don't we build what you think is the perfect fingerstyle guitar? And that is what this series is going to be about. What makes the best possible fingerstyle guitar, starting from the tone woods all the way down to the size of the frets and the type of strings we're going to use. And Peter went straight to work. He went through his wood stash and started the first selection. He showed me a few pieces that got through his tap test selection. And it was at this point that I instantly realized that we were going to have to reshoot that part of the video with proper audio. I didn't bring my microphones. Now, I've always found these tap tests of luthiers to be a bit alienating. They grab the board in a specific spot so that when they tap it, it can resonate freely. And then they listen for something. And I have never really gotten what they are looking for when listening to the board until Peter showed me these boards, because he managed to find a range of tops that all produce a distinctly different tone even before having been built into something even resembling a musical instrument. I could hear the difference and the promise of these boards, and you will too in the next video. And the last small anecdote about how serious Peter is about this project. Some time ago we talked about the same subject and the topic of Australian tone woods came up. Since the rise of Mason guitars, it's sort of hard to ignore these new materials in the world of acoustic guitars. Out of sheer professional curiosity, Peter went looking for an Australian dealer, found one, and then ordered a number of these boards. And when they arrived, he wasn't impressed at all. He was convinced that any instrument made out of one of these boards would be a complete dud. He didn't even get past his initial tap test. He was convinced that they were not going to sound good. So he did what any sane person would do. He built a fully finished guitar out of it. And he was in for a surprise as well. Despite the unconvincing results from the tap test, the guitar was surprisingly resonant and had a very even frequency response. That also is a big testament to Peter's building skills. Of course, it's not just the wood, it's also the way the guitar is being built. I sadly did not bring my microphones, like mentioned before, otherwise we would have done an instant demo of the guitar as well. But again, it will be in the next video. But it seems both Peter and I are going to have our expectations challenged straight from the start. So this was merely a video about the origin and the setup of the project. In the next video, we'll show you those tap tests mic'd up properly, and you can have a guess at which board we are going to use for the actual guitar. So we'll see you again soon in part 2 of the series. Take care. Bye bye.